In order to more accurately determine what games you would like, I will be breaking down games based on 6 core motivators. These motivators represent the reasons why we play games, acting as a more scientific method of quantifying your interest in a game. These are action, social, mastery, achievement, immersion, and creativity. Since I know you don't have time for a boring lecture, the research behind these motivators will be in the description below. Now with that out of the way, let's see if this game truly is for you. With the announcement of Tears of the Kingdom, I quickly rushed to finish Breath of the Wild. It wasn't a lack of interest in the game or anything, just a general laziness that forced me to add this game to my ever-growing backlog. While it fortunately didn't suffer the fate of being placed on my wish list, it nonetheless sat on my shelf collecting dust. So if you're like me and waited 6 years to play one of the best rated games of all time, join me as we explore the core gaming motivators for The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild's combat is very action-intensive and requires players to think on their toes while fighting enemies. Instead of just waiting until you can strike, the combat system allows a skilled player to easily make use of openings and effortlessly take out opponents. I am not one of those players. Its mechanics make it so that you have many options for battles, completely changing how you choose to engage an enemy. My personal favorite strategy is to run away like a little coward while dropping bombs behind me. It works every time. There have been many times where I booted up Breath of the Wild just to fight an enemy or two, since the combat is just so fun and engaging. That being said, it isn't exactly the most fast-paced of games. There aren't many opportunities to engage in pure mayhem, as you may see in other action-packed games. I would be reluctant to say that this game has as much action as your Call of Duties, Battlefields, or Grand Steel car. With this in mind, the highest I could give its action motivator is a 4 out of 5. It is not completely action-focused, but I think there is enough opportunity for action to warrant a high score. This game is solely a single-player experience. If you're looking for a game to play with your friends or with a large group of people, this certainly isn't the game. While there are some ways to add some multiplayer, they require you to do things that will apparently make Nintendo cry. So it is without a doubt a 0 out of 5 for its social motivator. For the master category, Breath of the Wild once again falls short. Its gameplay is the type that you'd repeat over and over again to become a master of its mechanics. While you may protest and point to its speedrunning community, keep in mind that it isn't inherently inclined towards mastery, as these games often involve long-term strategy and repeated practice that is inherent to the gameplay. That being said, a game that has a large speedrunning community probably implies that the game has some appeal to those who enjoy games with some form of mastery, so to be fair, I will rate its mastery a 1 out of 5. Breath of the Wild does not have a built-in achievement system. Though there may not be any fancy little badges for completing some arbitrary tasks, there are a great number of side quests that reward the player. The majority of these are interesting, but there are of course some that are rough to get through. Most of these rewards are rupees, but you can also be given weapons, armor, or access to new areas and shops. These rewards make the quests worthwhile and provide some good incentives for players to complete all of them. Altogether, Breath of the Wild earns a 3 out of 5 for its achievement motivator. Immersion is usually the strongest aspect of any role-playing game. These games need interesting stories and characters to pull you into their often ludicrously long playtimes. If you enjoy getting immersed into a game's story, it is not hard to recommend Breath of the Wild. The world is fun to explore, the story is pleasantly simplistic, and its characters are likable. As you would expect, it earns a 5 out of 5 for its immersion. Creativity is not in any way a focus of Breath of the Wild. You aren't meant to customize any aspect of the game, not even your own name. The game tells you your name is Link and you move on. While not directly creative, I believe Breath of the Wild allows players to be creative in other ways, such as combat and exploration. While you could follow the story to a T and simply go to the next objective marker, most players will find themselves exploring the interesting world. When they encounter an enemy, players can get creative in how they choose to engage. They could stealth around them, run in swinging, or charge in only to run away like a coward and airdrop bombs. Taken as a whole, Breath of the Wild is not explicitly catering to those who want a creative experience with customization options. However, the game allows the players to explore at their own pace and handle combat in any way they see fit. This gives it a 2 out of 5 for its creativity motivator. Breath of the Wild's highest motivators are its immersion and action, which makes sense for an open-world RPG. There's also something here for the achievement hunters. The game may lack any explicit achievement system, but it definitely provides many extra things to do and items to collect. Its creativity motivator, while not great, may interest people who enjoy games that allow them to explore at their own pace and fight enemies in a variety of ways. Its weakest motivators are social and mastery, meaning this is not for gamers that want a hyper-competitive or strategic experience. If you love games with interesting stories, engaging combat, and a plentiful amount of side quests, Breath of the Wild will certainly not disappoint.